Good morning, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Martin Murray. I'm the Executive Director of Asia Matters and delighted with the team to be back in Galway to partner with our members, ATU and Aerogen, to host the Asia Matters MedTech and Healthcare Summit Galway, kindly supported by Galway Chamber of Commerce and Portershed. I feel guilty talking about MedTech to all these experts where over the last few weeks, remember those yellow books that were for dummies? So I feel like the editor of MedTech for Dummies. So I apologize talking about MedTech to all the experts, but nevertheless. So why are we doing this conference and why here in Galway? Ireland is home to 14 of the top 15 MedTech companies and over 50,000 people are employed in the sector. This makes Ireland the largest employer of MedTech professionals in Europe per capita. Galway has a nickname called the City of Tribes. So in a business context, today we're talking about the tribe of the MedTech community here in Galway. The centre of Ireland's MedTech industry is Galway. The city has the significant advantage of 2 universities, creating a cluster ecosystem having FDI companies next to earlier stage companies, and is a breeding ground for MedTech entrepreneurs with inspiring founders and leaders joining us today. Yesterday we had the great privilege of John Power from Aerogen. John is with us today, hosted us for a session and told us the story of Aerogen, which is Ireland's largest indigenous MedTech company, the first company to reach over 100 million euros in turnover, and an amazing success story. We'll hear more from John and some of the other founders later. In preparing for this, which is our first MedTech event, we've done so many business sectors, but never MedTech. What I have learned, talking to the expert speakers who will share their insight with us today, is that the MedTech sector is driven by skilled and dedicated professionals who not only transform patient outcomes, but in many cases also actually save human lives. So this is a very special industry. It's, with all respect, I used to work in financial services, it's somewhat different to the value of financial algorithms or anything like that. We've a very exciting program ahead of us today, and it's a unique opportunity, I feel, to gain insight on the latest global trends, Ireland's future strategy as a global MedTech innovation hub, and the scale of the Asia partnership opportunity. And at the end of the day, we are Asia Matters. We're Ireland's only Asia think tank, so of course, Asia's at the heart of what we do. And we strongly believe in Ireland's ability to create with Asia the same level of partnership and engagement that we have managed in our history to create with the US. Okay? Clearly, we have a certain disadvantage in diaspora, etc., but we're making up for it. It's now my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Orla Flynn, President of Atlantic Technological University, for her key opening remarks on the role of universities in building talent pipelines for healthcare.
Martin. Díomh Ara Hildegard Nocton, Cahir Alan Dukes, Aguini Ushla agus Acorda. It's more in pleasure fáilte a choróibh Armagin, agus go háirithe buchas a gháil de bhaire agus Diran Portershed as Australian Ling Armagin. So my thanks again, great to welcome Minister Hildegard Nocton, but big thanks to Mayor Rogers and all the team here for hosting us at the Portershed. ATU was established on the 1st of April 2022, so we're about 2.5 years old, and many of you have heard me speaking on many occasions, and I'm not going to go into all of my talking about our 9 campuses, covering a region the size of Wales. I'm not going to go there. But I might reflect a little bit on the Technological Universities Act of 2018. It's the legislation that governs us and by which we live, and our strategic plan comes from that act. And I might just speak about 2 aspects of that legislation. it talks about technological universities providing an international connection for the people of the region. So enabling our staff and students to have an international experience, and also enabling us to connect various different stakeholders in the region with the outside world, and including internationally. The legislation also talks about us being an anchor tenant in the region, being very close to industry and enterprise in the region, working closely to support industry and wider enterprise. And our partnership with Asia Matters helps us to do both of those things at the one time. So it's really, that is the reason really why we are delighted to work with Asia Matters on events such as this. I think 2 years ago we hosted and partnered with Asia Matters on an event focusing on the creative industries, food. Last year we were in Donegal focusing on RegTech and FinTech. So, delighted to have you here back in Galway looking at our MedTech area. ATU, our figures recently, our official data from last academic year show us to have 26,700 students. So that puts us in the same size broadly as UCD, Technological University of Dublin. So a large university, and if we were all located in the one place, we would be a huge university. But we are distributed right across the region, and that distribution brings many challenges with it. And we're in a region, as you all know, the northern and western region, that in many ways unites us as a university. So all of our campuses are in the northern and western region, and there is no other technological university in the northern and western region. And what that does for us is it allows us to come together under one umbrella. And the challenges of that region are well publicized. We talk about struggles with infrastructure, we talk about the proportion of investment in the region, and I'm sure those challenges will be addressed in the years ahead. But the news breaking yesterday of the Freudenberg medical job announcement in County Leitrim, and delighted to see so many colleagues from the IDA here today, and just to say, brilliant, Enterprise Ireland, the IDA play a huge role in these announcements. But that announcement hints at how the strengths, the MedTech strengths in Galway can really benefit the wider region. And that was something that I think Kevin and I were reflecting, Kevin Sexton here from Donegal, were reflecting on there a while ago. And ATU is not only determined to be part of the success story of the northern and western region, but we are tasked with fueling that success through emerging talent. And this year we will graduate 5,000 people alone from ATU, so from our campuses right across the region. So talent, emerging talent, R&D, engagement with enterprise, and we could not deliver on that as GMIT, as IT Sligo, as Letterkenny Institute of Technology. We couldn't do it separately. We can only do that as one ATU. And we can't do it on our own either. We can only do it by working with others. And University of Galway, Ulster University, it was a really great pleasure to be joined yesterday and last night by Professor Peter McHugh, interim president of University of Galway, who played such a huge role in the emerging biomedical engineering discipline in the region. So my thanks to him as well. The recent news about veterinary and pharmacy for ATU, those were huge announcements. They were important for us, and we celebrated them. There's a lot of work, obviously, to go in doing that. But I think what it does show is that when we are united as one university, we can support a whole range of successes across the region. It doesn't all have to be in one place. We can do it together, and a win for one is a win for all. And if you look at maybe the distribution of the strengths across ATU, we have very strong in tech in Donegal, very strong in biopharma in Sligo, and really strong in medical and health here in Galway. And I want to maybe acknowledge the role played by ATU in what is a very tight innovation ecosystem in the west of Ireland. We have our Met Gateway, Medical Engineering Technologies Gateway, again supported by Enterprise Ireland. We have our Innovation Hub. We have a number of innovation hubs across the region, but the one here in Galway is particularly supportive of the MedTech sector, and a number of successes came through that sort of system. Our own biomedical and mechanical engineering programs here in Galway, medical and biomedical sciences courses here in Galway, and our business courses. And again, delighted to see Professor Alma McCarthy here from the University of Galway, and again, that collaborative nature of working with the University of Galway across a whole range of fronts. And so that's it really for me. I want to thank Martin, Sam and all the team at Asia Matters. Again, I want to acknowledge John Power and thank him and the team at Erigen for the wonderful afternoon that we had yesterday. It was my first time visiting Erigen. I had heard people from Erigen speaking at a whole range of events in the past, but my first time hearing John speak, and goosebumps is all I would say there. And if you haven't heard John speaking about what the company does, there's a treat in store for you at some stage. I want to thank the team at ATU. I see colleagues in the room here from all across the university. We meet each other going up and down that road, coming and going. A big shout out maybe for John Andy in particular, John Andy Bonner. John Andy was probably our key liaison. He's leading on internationalisation across ATU, but our key connecting point with Asia Matters. A proud Donegal man, but I think a little bit of his heart is here in Galway, so delighted with that. So, míle buíochas arís agus a raigling leis an